1, 2, 3, 4. Hey there, folks. It's Jimmy Stewart here, hoping this is finding you all doing well. Well, this past week, the wife and I were on the road. Yeah, we took a road trip. We had planned a couple of months ago to go out and visit some very dear friends of the family that we've known since our Navy days out in the big windy city in Chicago. So luckily, we were able to make it back and forth in between the big snowstorms here on the East Coast. And we decided to drive out there instead of fly, and it's a long drive, but very well worth it because we haven't seen our friends, Andrea and the kids, since pre-COVID. So it's been around 2018, 2019, I think it was, when Andrea came out and we did New York City and all that kind of good stuff. But that's what we do. We try to get together as much as we can with the good friends that we've had, and we don't have that many still left from the Navy days, but this is one that we do have. And it's always a pleasure to go out and see her. So we decided to make the trip. Now, a long story I'm going to cut short so that we can introduce the guitar to you. So while we were out there, I think it was a few days while we were there, and Andrea came to me, and somehow the conversation got to guitars, and I guess, you know, how the channel was doing and how many guitars do you currently have now, Jimmy, and all that kind of good stuff. So we started talking, and she said, hey, I'd like you to take a look at my husband Chris's bass. Hasn't been out since the 90s. Now, back in the 90s, Chris unfortunately passed away in an accident, and we've kept in touch with Andrea and the family ever since then. Again, Chris and I were friends back then in the Navy. He was a pilot, and I was running the commissary store there at Pax River. So she wanted me to take a look at the bass. Now, honestly, I don't remember Chris ever mentioning to me during the time that I knew him, it was only for a couple of years, that he played bass. And so when Andrea brought the guitar down for me to take a look at, again, it hasn't been out since the 90s as far as I know, and she's kept it in the case. And when she brought the case down, I was really surprised because I looked at it and right there it said Fender. I went, wow, let's take a look at this. So I opened it up, we checked it all out, and I'd like to present to you the Chug Hug bass. And that, of course, is this guy right here. Now, I took it out of the case when she brought it down. Again, it hasn't seen the light of day for many, many years. From what I understand, Chris owned this back in 1980, as far as she can remember. And this, I found out as I looked at it, is a 1977 Fender Precision from the Fullerton factory there in California. A Fender Precision, or the P-Bass as they call it. Now, the reason I know a little bit about these, obviously, is I own one as well. Now, mine is a 76. Now, I've used it on every studio album I've ever done, every recording I've done. In fact, I even used it when I first came back from Wales in the mid-'80s. When I first got back, after doing my album, I was playing with almost like a wedding band because I wanted to get some work as soon as I got back from Britain. So I took a gig as playing bass for that particular band, and I used my 76P bass for all of that as well. So mine's been around. This particular bass is a 77, 1 year newer than mine. Mine's a 76. And as you can see from this is in the sunburst finish. It is in very, very good shape, considering it's a 77, and it doesn't have a lot of road-worn stuff on it, so I don't think Chris played it all that much. The frets look very, very good. This is a maple neck. My particular bass is a rosewood neck on my 76. This has got the ashtray here, and it's also got the cover for the pickups if I wanted to put it back on. Of course, your thumb stop is up here. For those that know that Fender actually changed these in 74 and prior, that used to be a tug bar. So this was actually on the G string side, and in 74 they moved it to this side. So it's more of a thumb rest. Back then they called it a tug bar when it was on the G side of the strings here. So a very cool bass. This is in sunburst. This is an ash body with a maple neck and a maple fretboard. Now let me grab my 76 and I'll sort of show you the comparisons to the two. Okay, so here I have them both, folks. So on my side here, there's a 76. This is in the mocha brown. This is the 76. This has got the rosewood fretboard. And this is the Chug Hug. This is in sunburst, and this is a 77 with a maple fretboard. Other than that, these guitars are pretty much identical. You can see from the backs, I've been doing a classic vintage guitar series, and I was planning on bringing these 76 in for another episode of that, and I still will. But I did want to show you this one quickly because, again, I was very surprised when I was out visiting and ended up getting another guitar even when I wasn't planning on it. So here's the 77 Chug Hug P-Bass in sunburst, in maple. So what I'll end up doing, folks, is I'll end up doing another episode of the Classic Vintage Guitar Series, and I'll include these both in there just to do it as one. How in 1951, Leo Fender came out with the first portable, electric bass that you could strap on and play, plug in and go. Prior to 1951, if you were playing bass in a band, you were playing a stand-up bass. And the reason they actually named the first bass the Precision bass, or the P-Bass as it's come to be known, is because, again, it was the first bass to have frets. And that gave it the intonation that you wanted. So they called it a precision bass, because you had a way to intonate the bass and you actually had frets on it now, instead of a stand-up bass, a fretless stand-up. So 1951 is the first year they came out with these. They did, it looked a lot different back in 1951. So they did change the body styles on these after they first released them in 51. The original ones looked a little bit different. They had more of a Telecaster style headstock on them with a single pickup covered. And around 54 they changed it, and they sort of put the scoops in it, the bevels like a Stratocaster, and got the bigger headstock and went with almost a Strat type headstock on these. And then around 57, I think it was, they actually split these pickups Yeah, they're single coils, but they split it. It's a single pickup, but it's a split coil now, and that gives it that hum cancellation. You got a single volume and a single tone down here. So very surprised when this guitar was presented to me. Again, my thought was I was taking a look at it to see, if she was going to sell it or what it kind of needed, and it really doesn't need a lot. It's going to need a setup. It's been a while since it's been out of the box, and it's not bad, but I'm going to let it acclimate here. I wasn't sure if any of the tone pots or if anything worked because I couldn't plug it in there in Chicago, so I had to wait till I got home yesterday, and I plugged it in, and it sounds fine. It's going to need to be restrung, of course, and I'll put it on the bench and get it sorted out along with my 76, because I'm going to do the same thing with both of these. I'll get them all set. They both require some new strings, so that's going to take some effort and some time there. But other than that, I think they're in very good shape. Both of them are. This is the newest edition, and again, Andrea, thank you so much. I was not planning on this guitar at all, but she basically told me that she'd rather it go back and have a home here in the studio with its friends and relatives in remembrance of Chris rather than sell it outright. So that's what we decided to do. So again, thank you very, very much. She has a great new home and she's going to love it here. The Chug Hug from Chicago. So I'm not going to go through the up close and all that kind of stuff. We will do that on the classic vintage video that I'm going to do, and I'll include both these guitars in that particular video because they are only 1 year apart. And so just for today, I wanted to give you an introduction to it. I wanted to thank Andrea, Daniel, and Corey for allowing us to visit and hosting us for this past week. We had a great time, and we beat both storms, which is great. We're expecting more snow again tonight, so, but we're home safely, and so is the Chug Hug. Let's just give it a couple of quick tone checks, and we'll take it from there. Now the pots do have a little bit of scratching, so I'll fix that with a little cleaner. And I do not have a dedicated bass amp here in the studio. I actually have an old PV, I don't know, quite sure where it is, it might be over there. But I'm just going to run this on a bass patch through the monoprice and the extension 12 here. So it sounds pretty cool. Just a little bit of work to do here on the tones. I'm going to bring the action down just a little bit. I'm sure this neck has never been pulled, so we'll adjust it a little bit and get it nice. And everything else seems to be working fine. Put a new set of strings on it and be good to go with the Chug Hug bass. Again, my thanks to Andrea, Corey, Daniel. We appreciate seeing you guys when we were out there, and we had a good time. Thanks so much for hosting us. Again, my thanks to everybody for stopping in. Again, this is a quick little video here. I just wanted to show you the new acquisition that we got when we were in Chicago. So thank you all so very much for stopping in. Thank you all for subscribing. For all the folks still on the fence, come on over to the good side. Would love to have you on board. Until next time, folks, it's Jimmy Stewart saying so long. Take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And we'll talk to you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.